I'm here with another DVD review. We're going to be reviewing my SummerSlam DVDs. I've been running through my pay-per-views, doing reviews on all of them. The other day, I did my WrestleMania reviews, and there was one. I went through the video and watched it, and there was one WrestleMania that I missed, and it was WrestleMania 20. I skipped right over it. But tonight, I'm going to go ahead and review that before I get into my SummerSlam. The one that I forgot was WrestleMania 20. It's from Madison Square Garden, 2004. You got the U.S. Championship match, John Cena versus Big Show. It's not bad. You got Jericho and Christian. It's a good match. You got Rock and Sock Connection versus Evolution handicap match. It's not bad. I kind of liked it. You got the interpromotional match, Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. Horrible match, horrible. This was the last match that Goldberg ever worked in the WWE, and it's right before Lesnar left to go to the Vikings and UFC and all that. You also got the WWE Championship match, Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle, which is a pretty good match. I really enjoyed that one. Interpromotional match, Undertaker versus Kane. If you remember, this is when Undertaker come back to be the original Undertaker from doing American Badass gimmick. And then you have the triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship between HBK, Chris Benoit, and Triple H. This is when Benoit finally captured the world title after all these years, and I was really glad to see Benoit win that. And that's about it for WrestleMania 20. Then we're going to hop into the SummerSlam anthologies. We're going to start off with SummerSlam Anthology Volume 1, 1988 to 1992. You got Hogan, Mr. Perfect, Bulldog and Brett, Boss Man, DiBiase, Warrior, and Rick Rude on the front. You pop it open, you got Sid and Slaughter up top. You got Shawn Michaels, Mr. Perfect, Ultimate Warrior, Texas Tornado, Crushing the Repo Man, the Hart Foundation, the Macho Man. Inside you got Typhoon. You got the cover from SummerSlam 89, Macho Man and Zeus. We got Brett and the Bulldog, Akeem and Duggan, and Sergeant Slaughter there. Open it up to this side. You got DiBiase, Andre the Giant, and Virgil. There in the corner, you got Earthquake. Down here, you got Andre, Hogan, and DiBiase. And then over here, you got the Honky Tonk Man. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to go over all the matches on the disc, but I'm going to go over the matches that I thought were good on the disc. The only thing I don't like about the SummerSlam and the Survivor Series anthologies is this little pocket hold right here, as you can see. I liked it better when you can just kind of snap it in a case, because it kind of scratches the disc a little bit, but anyway, we'll go into them. We got Rick Rude and JYD. Not a bad match. You got Honky Tonk Man, Ultimate Warrior. That's when Ultimate Warrior beat the Honky Tonk Man in like 30 seconds. You got the Hart Foundation and Demolition. Two of my favorite tag teams. That's a really good match. And then you have the main event. The Mega Bucks, $1 Million Man, and Andre the Giant versus the Mega Powers, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage. Jesse Ventura is the special guest referee in that one. It's pretty good SummerSlam. And then we move into 1989. The show opens with the Hart Foundation versus Brainbusters, which is very good. Dusty Rhodes and Honky Tonk Man were a good match. IC Championship, Rick Rude and Warrior, where Rick Rude carries him through the whole match. 6-man tag match, you got Andre the Giant and the Twin Towers versus Hacksaw and Demolition. Hacksaw actually comes out with a mask and American flag face paint, which is pretty funny. And then you have the main event in that year is the Macho Man and Zeus versus Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake. Not a bad main event, even though Brutus Beefcake was in it. Still pretty good. Then we move into 1990, and you have Mr. Perfect and Texas Tornado for the IC belt, which is pretty good. I like that match. You got Demolition and Hart Foundation once again. Also, they always work good together. I always like watching them work. Let's see, we got Dusty Rhodes and Macho Man. That's not a bad match. Macho Man and Dusty Rhodes work pretty good together, I thought, And this is where $1 Million Man by Sapphire, which is pretty funny. Then you have a double main event. The first main event is Hulk Hogan and Earthquake. We have a good match. And then you have the steel cage match for the WWE Championship, Ultimate Warrior and Rick Rude. I do believe this is one of Rick Rude's last matches in the WWE. Then we move on to 1991. My favorite SummerSlam of all time. There's some really good matches on here. My favorite match of all time is the Intercontinental Championship match of 91. Bret the Man Hart versus Mr. Perfect. Bret Hart wins his first single title in the WWE. You have the $1 Million title match between Virgil and Ted DiBiase, which is I liked it. I like to see Virgil, finally win the $1 Million belt over DiBiase, which was cool. I met Virgil. He's cool, man. You got the jailhouse match between Big Boss Man and the Mountie, where the Mountie goes to jail, and they do all the scenes where he's going to jail, getting his fingerprint, and throwing the slammer. Then you have the World Tag Team Championship match between the Nasty Boys and the Legion of Doom. Pretty cool. You got IRS and Valentine, who work a great match. Then you have the match made in hell, Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior versus Sergeant Slaughter, Colonel Mustafa, and General Adnan. This is the match where Ultimate Warrior held Vince up for Monday before he came out, and then after the match he was fired. Then we move into 1992. We got Money Inc. and Legion of Doom work a great match. This is where LOD comes out on the motorcycles. You got the Model and Shawn Michaels. You got the WWE Championship match, Ultimate Warrior versus Macho Man. They always tend to work good together, I thought. Not Macho Man really, like Rick Rude, carried Warrior when they wrestled. You got Kamala and Undertaker, and then the main event is an Intercontinental Championship match, Bret Hart versus Bulldog, where Bulldog wins Intercontinental in England, UK. It's pretty good, I think. All in all, this is probably the best SummerSlam anthology. Volume 1 is probably the best one, I think. That's just my opinion. Then we'll move into SummerSlam Anthology Volume 2. In the front, you got Razor Ramon, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, Mick Foley and The Undertaker. You open it up, you got Jerry Lawler and Jake the Snake, Undertaker, Hawk. Can't tell who he's wrestling there. Mick Foley again, Vader and Shawn. The Game. Some of the original SummerSlam covers. And then over here you got Owen Hart, Owen and Austin, Giant Gonzalez, rest in peace, Goldust, and the late Paul Bearer. When you open it up, you got HBK and Razor. You got Undertaker, Stone Cold, and Yokozuna. Alright, 1993. 1993, you got $1 Million Man and Razor Ramon have a good match to open it up. You got Shawn Michaels versus Mr. Perfect for the IC belt, which is good. Bret the Man Hart versus Jerry Lawler. Undertaker and Giant Gonzalez. I wasn't really a big fan of Giant Gonzalez. He could not work very good. And then the WWE Championship match between Yokozuna and Lex Luger. It was horrible how Lex Luger wins on a countout. I really thought they would get, at this time, I really thought when they would put the belt on Luger, but I guess they just didn't trust Luger. So he's not really one of theirs. Then moving on to 1994. 1994. You got Bigelow and Iris versus Edge Drinkers. It's pretty good. You got IC match between Razor Ramon and Diesel. Tatanka and Lex Luger. Of course, this is where I believe this is where Tatanka's bought by DiBiase, which is hilarious. And then you have the steel cage match for the WWE Championship, Bret Hart versus Owen Hart. And you have the stupid Undertaker versus Undertaker match. That was just so stupid. 1995. We don't got a whole lot on this one. You got Bret Hart versus Isaac Yankem and Miz Kane. You got a ladder match for the IC belt between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. Not as good as their first IC match. Ladder match. And the WWE Championship match between Diesel and Mabel. I would have really liked to see them put the belt on Mabel one time at that time, but they never did. Then we're moving into 1996. 1996 is kind of plain. You got Bulldog and Sid, Jared Lawler and Jake the Snake. The best match to me on here is Undertaker versus Mankind, and Shawn Michaels and Vader. Other than that, 96 was kind of plain to me. Then we move into 1997. You got Triple H and Mankind in the steel cage match to open the show. You got Goldust and Pillman. You got the IC belt between Owen Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's where Owen Hart messes up Steve Austin's neck, and he's not allowed to. He wins the IC belt, but he don't wrestle for a while, and that's when they use him with Vince. Him and Vince start their little angle because he's not able to wrestle, so they let him cut promos and stun the boss and stuff like that. It's pretty funny. And then you have the WWE Championship match, which I really enjoy, between Undertaker and Bret the Hitman Hart, with Shawn Michaels as special guest referee. It's not a bad. Other than 95 and 96, this is a good one. I would definitely grab it. SummerSlam's had a lot of great moments in it, so you definitely want to pick that up. Alright, then we got SummerSlam Anthology Volume 3, 1998 to 2002. On the front, you got Lesnar and The Rock, Jeff Hardy, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, Steve Austin, RVD. Pop it open, you got Edge. You got Stone Cold, SummerSlam cover. You got Eddie Guerrero, I believe. I'm not sure who that is. Oh, it don't matter. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Undertaker. You got The Rock from his SummerSlam covers. The Rock and Brock Lesnar, Triple H and The Rock. And you got a couple of SummerSlam covers from down here. 1999 and maybe 2000, I'm not sure. You open this up, you got Shane McMahon and Jesse Ventura. Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Big Show, Kane. They all lost pile driving Mankind. Let's open this up and go ahead and review it. Okay, 1998, another one of my favorite SummerSlams, like 1991. You have the hair versus hair match, X-Pac and Jeff Jarrett. You have the Lions Dim Weapon match, Ken Shamrock and Owen Hart, which is a very cool match. You have the No Holds Barred Falls Count Anywhere match for the World Tag Belts, Outlaws versus Mankind. You have an awesome ladder match for the IC Championship between The Rock and Triple H, and then the WWE Championship match between Steve Austin and The Undertaker. But 1998 is a very, very, very good pay-per-view. 1999. We got the Hardcore Championship match between Al Snow and Big Boss Man. That's a funny angle. Al Snow was always funny. That's where they killed his dog or whatever. You got a Lions Den match between Ken Shamrock and Steve Blackman. You got the World Tag match between X-Pac and Kane versus Undertaker and Big Show. Kiss My Ass match between The Rock and Mr. Ass. And the triple threat match for the WWE Championship, Stone Cold versus Triple H versus Mankind. Jesse Ventura is the special guest referee. 1999 is a pretty good SummerSlam as well. Moving into 2000. You got Road Dogg versus X-Pac. Jerry Lawler versus Taz. Chris Benoit and Jericho in a 2 out of 3 falls match. It was an awesome match. You have a TLC match for the World Championship, Tag Championships. Dudley's, Edge and Christian, and the Hardy Boys, and all of us know that when these three get together, they go hard. You got Undertaker and Kane. And then the triple threat match for the WWE Championship, Triple H, Kurt Angle, and The Rock. 2000 was another good SummerSlam. SummerSlam 2001. You got the IC Championship match, Lance Storm and Edge. They work a pretty good match. You got Rhino and Jericho. Rob Van Dam versus Jeff Hardy in a ladder match for the Hardcore Championship. That might be the best match on the damn pay-per-view. No, I mean, it's great. You got the WCW World Tag Championships Unification Steel Cage match, Kane and Undertaker versus DDP and Canyon. It's not bad. I didn't like how they used DDP in WWE, man. Thought he could have been better. WWE Championship match, Stone Cold versus Kurt Angle is good. And the WCW Championship match, The Rock versus Booker T. Pretty good. Always been a Booker T fan. I think he was underrated in this business as well. Then moving on to SummerSlam 2002. You got Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio open the show. You got Chris Jericho and Flair, Eddie Guerrero and Edge. Both are pretty good matches. You got the World Tag Championship between Booker T and Goldust versus the Un-Americans. If you remember, this was when Goldust did the stuttering gimmick, which is fucking hilarious. You have the IC Championship match between Benoit and Van Dam. They work a great match. Unsanctioned street fight between HBK and Triple H. We all know what that one was about. Classic match. And then you have the match for the undisputed WWE Championship between Brock Lesnar and The Rock. Brock Lesnar wins this match. Of course, this is when Rock began doing movies. At the end of the match, the crowd starts chanting, "You sold out, you sold out." So it was kind of funny and embarrassing for The Rock. But this is Volume 3, and it's not better than Volume 1, but it might be better than Volume 2, man. It's pretty damn good, I think. Then we're going to move into SummerSlam Anthology Volume 4, 2003 to 2007. On the front, you got Cena and Jericho, Lesnar and Angle, Rey Mysterio, McFoley. You open it up, you got Cena, Jericho, Shawn Michaels, and Hulk Hogan SummerSlam cover. You got a couple guys here. You got Sabu. Open it up. You got Batista and Kane, and Hogan and Michaels, Big Show, Hurricane Helms. Let's go down here and review these. SummerSlam 2003, you got really not a whole lot on here. You got Shane McMahon and Eric Bischoff, which is a silly match. You got the Fatal 4-Way match for the U.S. title, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Tajiri and Rhino, they work a hell of a match. Angle and Lesnar, you know how they do when they work a match. It's just like classic wrestling. Falls Count Anywhere, RVD versus Kane. And then the match of the night is the Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship. The Game, Y2J, HBK, Goldberg, Nash, and Orton worked one hell of a match. I didn't really like the outcome of the match, but all in all, this is a good match. And it makes for all that match. It makes for all the other bad matches on this disc. SummerSlam 2004. We got, let's see, Till Death Do Us Part match between Kane and Matt Hardy. Best of 5 series for the Undisputed U.S. Championship. You got Cena and Booker T working a pretty good match. You got a triple threat match for the IC belt. Batista, Jericho, and Edge, which is good. Or Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle. Both of those matches are pretty decent. I mean, some of these guys, like Guerrero, Angle, Jericho, RVD, they just make, even if they're wrestling somebody that's not that good, they just make the match look so much better, man. It's cool. And you got the WWE Championship match, JBL versus Undertaker. The World Heavyweight Championship match, Benoit versus Randy Orton, if you remember, which is a good match. And if you remember, this is where Randy Orton beats Chris Benoit and becomes the youngest World Heavyweight Champion in history. Then we'll move on to 2005. 2005 here. You got Edge and Matt Hardy work a pretty lighter match for the custody of Dominic, Rey Mysterio, and Eddie Guerrero. That was good. I liked the whole storyline leading up to it. It was real serious. It was pretty funny. You got Undertaker and Randy Orton. WWE Championship match, John Cena and Chris Jericho. Jericho makes Cena look like $1 million. No DQ match for the World Heavyweight belt, Batista versus JBL. And then you have Legend versus Icon, Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels. They work a pretty good match. It's Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels, guys. Then we go into 2006. 2006, we got the ECW title, Big Show versus Sabu. Legend versus Legend Killer, Hulk Hogan and Randy Orton. I Quit match, Ric Flair versus Mick Foley. World Heavyweight Championship match, King Booker versus Batista. DX versus the McMahons, which was always fucking hilarious. And then the WWE Championship between Edge and John Cena. All in all, 2006 wasn't a bad SummerSlam either. 2007, not a whole lot on here. 2007, you got Morrison and Punk, work a good match. Triple H and Booker T. Then you got the World Heavyweight Championship between Great Khali and Batista. Man, that match was horrible. Just horrible. And then you have the WWE Championship match between John Cena and Randy Orton. Now, the pay-per-view, there was a few SummerSlams, like 2007, 2008, 2009, that just, for that period, for some reason, just fell off. I don't know what that was about. Moving right along. This is, in my opinion, the worst SummerSlam ever, 2008. You don't got nothing on here, man. You got Cena and Batista, who work a good match. The best match on here is the Hell in a Cell between Undertaker and Edge. That's about it, man. I'm not even going to review them more on this one. Then you have 2009, another SummerSlam. You got Cena, Mysterio, Hardy, Big Show, Jericho, DX, MVP, CM Punk, Great Khali on the front. Flip it over. You got Orton and Cena again for the WWE Championship match like you had a year earlier. You got Hardy and CM Punk in a TLC match. And DX and Legacy. Other than that, that's it. another, like I said, 2007, 2008, 2009, all mediocre SummerSlams.